As I showed earlier, with the metal going up and down and across, that's basically double helix flow. This is basically how it works with a wave roll area, pointy to wave, pointed to wave, and that's basically your inside out fields where they cross. This is Jupiter, and basically that's double helix planetary ring formation. When it can no longer pass through the center of the planet, it then rolls out and begins pushing out circles, and that's the configuration of travel of those. And this was on and this is steam versus magnetism, which basically flows exactly the same, because energy flow through a pan will create an Ouroboros torus field, which then turns into a clockwise rotation at the top, both traveling clockwise and counterclockwise. I deleted that video because it wasn't quite correct, and I knew I needed to make this video instead. So this is another piece of paper showing magnetism and steam flow. This is the Tesla fluid diode versus smoke travel, and again it's exactly the same. Vortex in, Ouroboros, vortex out. Vortex in, Ouroboros, vortex out. This is exactly the same as smoke travel, which is exactly the same as magnetism. Now this is a picture of magnetism that couldn't really, that's why I did the metal things, because you can't get any kind of 3D effect here. Clockwise in the bottom, splits at the top, rolls around to the side. This is exaggerated, it should be flattened, but more waves will create the egg shape. It's losing power all the time, that's why it is a large loop and a small loop. It crosses over in the center, rolls back into another Ouroboros wave, swings back into the middle and back up through the top. So I couldn't actually explain that properly, but the modes of travel are all on there doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then this is kind of what Ken's got, and basically I'm showing the difference here of why one sheath is over the top. So they both look the same, but they're about to roll over here, but the distances, as you can see by the sphere, are exactly the same. But the one traveling at 137.5 is lower than the one traveling at 160. So the one traveling at 160 hits first and spins out one way, and then the 137 hits and spins out the other, while the rest drives through the center. Now I drew this because I had to. I could just see a ball rotating in those directions, even though it isn't actually possible. But those are kind of the modes of travel of the field as it swaps sides. I think Ken's got something along these lines somewhere, I don't know. But I drew this ages ago, I don't even know when I did it, but I had to get it out of my head. I didn't understand what it meant because it was to do with magnetism. So as you can see on there, we've got our crosses, which I showed you with the paper. Ken, if you're still watching, I know you understand this picture. Everything's going everywhere. I'm seeing all this. I can see all this, which is really great. And that's because God shoved it all in my head by electricity magnetic download into visions, as you spoke about. If you had these massive wireless hubs in your house, you said it would actually induce visions and vomiting and all that, which is the poisonous power of our energy. But God, whatever he did to me, I didn't suffer any ill effects. In fact, I felt more energized and fantastic than I'd ever felt. Excuse me. While having all these visions, nothing else happened apart from feeling absolutely fantastic and understanding the power that is to come and how we're all going to feel, which is absolutely amazing and unbelievable. So yeah, my visions were from God, and it was pure and unaffected me. And your wireless hub houses will give people visions and make them vomit and eventually kill them, because it'll basically cook them like a microwave. Okay, this was where I froze a magnet in some glass too, and this is where the two sheaths passed over and under each other. And if you have a look at the red lines that I put through the lines that are crossing underneath, we go from 58.5 to 125, which is 60 to 60, 65, 67.5, which is half of 137.5, I believe. It's very close. In fact, I think that comes out to 135, which I'm quite happy with. But basically, I've shown you this picture because this is where they meet. But I'm now going to show you proof that there is a sheath between that reversed Y, and that it's hollow in between, basically. Oh yeah, and there's also space between levels this way and this way, as seen by the water tip. See that? That's a water line inside there, which has melted. But now it can be seen to be tipping. But there's nothing in there. See? Nothing's coming out, except for a little bit. And as you can see as it falls down, there is a space between each magnetic level, dictated by that water flow there, showing that there is a passageway between vortex shield fields. There is a space, because of course there is. They're in layers. Magnetism is in layers. Now this is really interesting. These lines are part of the field lines. This is the area, it's a tube that carries the energy, like wires basically. They're running through your house. But the thing is, every single one of these bubbles is a heteromag formation, and it is, from what I've read, transporting hydrogen one way and oxygen the other. So basically, the different rotations will electrically separate H2O into hydrogen and oxygen. So I've already told us the angles of degree, 160, 137.5. So one of those is a hydrogen angle and one of those is a oxygen angle. And while we're on the subject, the Earth is a magnet. And basically that's how it splits water, so water into hydrogen and oxygen in our air, which is what gives us our atmosphere. So because I've got my collection of universal voltage drop, which means the energy in the universe is failing due to vacuum, decay, entropy, whatever you want to call it, excuse me, our planet isn't receiving as much energy from the sun. The sun is going to sleep. Everybody knows it, and if you deny it, you're a bit of a pudding, really, and need to learn some science. So our energy is dependent on the sun. If it goes down, our atmosphere will shrink. Also, what will happen to the water? Well, water is normally being split into hydrogen and oxygen to create the atmosphere, but if there isn't enough electrical energy within the planet to do that inside the heart of the planet, which sends water upwards, then the seas will rise, because water will not be evaporating into clouds.